Hello, everybody. This is Frank with Iron Age News. It is Wednesday, June 25th, around 12:30 in the afternoon. It is pouring rain. That's why the color is even stranger on this camera than normal. We did do at least one video on the alligator Alcatraz, which is the new illegal immigrant detention facility that they're fighting over down in Miami-Dade County. And we were wrong. We were right and we were wrong. We were wrong in the fact that they shouldn't be building it there. And so they're not going to build it per se. They've gone with a different direction. The state of Florida has seized the property pretty much, and they're going to contract with DHS, and we'll explain all that. And therefore, they stole a march, as we say, on the environmental people and everybody else by doing it this way. This allows, I think, in my back of our minds, the allows Ron DeSantis to still keep kind of relevant while the rest of the state falls apart, and keeps him in the running to go against J.D. Vance when Donald Trump's time is up. So let's get right into that. We will call it Jetport Justice. Bum, bum, bum. So we're going to be talking about, as we said, the swamps of Florida, the old Miami-Collier Jetway, as was called, now being called Alligator Alcatraz, basically because of the incredibly hostile property around the facility. Anybody who could escape would, of course, be attacked and eaten by, I guess, alligators or giant boa constrictors or whatever, something to that effect. So we're going to talk about maybe one of the boldest, I think it's pretty bold, and most deceptive immigration maneuvers in modern state politics. As we have constantly had to evolve while the juris system is completely fakakta, as they say in Latin, more and more things have to be done to make the law work correctly. And unfortunately, Alligator Alcatraz seems to be one of those things. It's what Florida is calling the 5,000 bed tent city that it's throwing together at the long abandoned Everglades Airport, or as they said, either the Miami Collier Jetway, however you want to call it, which has been closed since like 1970. And here's what they're not saying, okay? And this is where they've thrown the people who are protesting it for a number of reasons. Very few of them who say they are doing it for the environment are doing it for the environment, because where were they, or where are they while we are fighting for our drinking water up at the rock mine facility in Palm Beach County, right? So there you have that. It's not really a detention facility. It is a migrant export hub. It will be a fast track, air ready deportation station, and every clue, every truck, and light tower confirms it. So let's get down to the business at hand so you can get back to your day. First, the location. The Dade-Collier Jetport boasts a 10,500-foot runway built in the 60s for supersonic jets. That was when the SST and the Concorde were going to be the big thing. So Dade-Collier was going to become the largest jet aircraft facility in the world and tie together Europe and South America through Miami. That's what the plan had been. It's long enough to land a C-17 or ice charter deportation jet with room to spare. They do not need to do any construction. There is no FAA certification for cargo ops, just pavement, fuel, and clearance from Tallahassee. That's what we're talking about, okay? The facility that would detain the people and the airport runway are one in the same. So they don't have to break ground. They don't have to do a lot of the things that would catch them up in a normal construction situation, because they're not doing it. So secondly, the facilities. They're not building permanent structures. There aren't going to be any dorms. There's not going to be any plumbing. There isn't going to be any kitchens. What we're seeing are FEMA tents, portable toilets, and fuel bladders designed not to hold people very long, but to cycle them in and out. I'm thinking 48 hours or more. They're going to be fed MREs and a strict dose of discipline if they get out of line, probably, hence the alligators. So we're looking 48 hours, maybe a little bit less, that they'll stay there. So here's the legal trick, the big number 3. Governor DeSantis invoked Florida's emergency powers statute. Guess you didn't know we had one of them, huh? That lets him commandeer land for 60 days without a deed, lease, or permits. That's how they did this. He sent Miami-Dade a notice of entry and rolled in equipment the same day. So there's no hearings, there's no environmental review, and so far, no injunctions. And here's the real tell, okay? If this were truly a detention complex, you'd see foundation work. You'd see the stakes. Stakes would be going in, surveying crews would be out there, this, that, and the other thing. Permanent fencing, maybe a court annex. You don't build it. And we have right up the road from there is Chrome, which is our actual ICE facility to hold detainees. You don't build a prison without water trucks, okay? You build a transit station. That's what they're doing there. And that's exactly what this is. A covert deportation node disguised as a humanitarian facility. The goal isn't to hold the immigrants. It's to fly them out before anybody notices or can stop it. Okay, so it feels like the tent city of the 80s. If you remember, Miami had tent city when the Marielitos came over. It's the Mariel boat lift. They kept them in tents to try to figure out who the hell they all were. And I think the claim to fame is it's in the beginning of Scarface, if you see it. That was a real place. So Florida built tent cities for the Cubans that disappeared just as fast as they appeared. So this is kind of a Mariel 2.0, I guess you could say, with a runway. So what can be done? Well, you're sort of like me, you're torn. I want them gone, but I also want to have clean drinking water. The two shouldn't be mutually exclusive. So Miami-Dade has to act now and file a property rights injunction if they want to stop whatever's going on. The environmental groups must invoke federal law and stop further encroachment. So this bullshit that they do where they sit there and they cry and they bang on pots and pans doesn't do anything. And they have the money for lawyers, which they save to bail themselves out, right? So then the press, of course, has to ask, if this is temporary, why are you doing it on the runway? Well, we know what they want to do, but why are you doing it on the runway? Because once the first plane lifts off out of that place, the narrative changes, and so does the precedent. Okay. So that would be the very first time they'd be able to do this whole thing, very black site, which honestly, once again, I'm torn. Everybody else is torn, but there are procedures to follow. Not this due process nonsense they talk about. There are real procedures to follow when we're doing this. And this is kind of a little iffy, little stinky, even for the hardcore MAGA people, hopefully, to stomach. So anyway, that's the story as of now. We'll see how it goes out from there. And y'all have a good day. See you later.